So,
Are you going to the Cincinnati area?
yes.
Awesome. All right, I'm ready.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Mindful Movements, which happens every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to move through your body. Today, we are focusing on the core. We're going to focus on the front lower abdominals and the mid back. So when you hear core, it's not just your stomach muscles that we're talking about. It's everything but your arms, your legs, your neck, your head. The core is your torso. So what I'd like you to have today is a yoga block. That's all we need for a prop. It can be a yoga block or a little throw pillow from your couch. We're going to be on the floor, and I think that's all you need to know. So let's get some mind in our movement today. These movements are to teach you things that make your body feel good. So you can do these as everyday movements to keep your body healthy while you're working through other exercise routines. Let's start on our hands and knees. This is the quadruped position. When you are on your hands and knees, you want to make sure that your hands are directly under your shoulders, your knees are under your hips, and so your knees are about hip width apart, obviously, hands are directly under the shoulders, your back is just flat. Let's just put it in neutral. Just let the belly hang for a minute, okay? Your toes can be curled under or they can be flattened out, whichever is most comfortable for you at this point. We'll get to a point where we push back that you will want to flatten your feet. So let's go through a little cat-cow right now. What I want you to do is I want you to get your table set really nice and flat and sturdy. And I want you to bring your chin to your chest and pull your navel up to the ceiling. Get that belly button high in the air, up through your spine. Pull it up like somebody's got a string on your belly button and they're pulling it straight up to the ceiling and you're really rounding. And as you round, you're pushing your hands and your knees into the floor and getting a lot of space between the spine. Now let's let that drop. So just let everything drop. Let the belly hang now. Tilt the low back and lift your chin. So what we have now is we have a curve in our neck going the same way as our low back. Let's do it the other way. And I want your curve to go the same way, neck and low back, rounding up, round it up, round it up, round it up. Push it up, push it up, push it up. Get a lot of space in that back because we're going to be rotating that back in that rib cage area. And then drop it down. All right. Now this is where I want you to flatten your feet. Let's go back into bringing our chin to our chest and we're rounding our spine, rounding it, rounding it, rounding it to the ceiling. From here, I want you to push your hips back towards your heels, nice and slow and controlled. Go as far as you can. Once you're there, I want you to drop your elbows to the floor. I want you to let your belly hang, lift your chin up, and slide back up. All right, let's change that up a bit. We're going to add a torso twist. So I want you to take your left hand and I want you to place it right under your breastbone, right under your chest. It's kind of right in between your knees, not in between your knees, just a little bit ahead of your knees. And then I want you to take your right hand and place it on the low back. So from here, we're going to push our hips back to our heels. We're going to drop that elbow to the floor. Now that elbow should be placed right between your legs and resting against your left knee a little bit. That's going to be your fulcrum. So from here, I want you to just rotate your rib cage. Think of your rib cage, not your shoulders, not your neck. It'll go, your shoulders and neck go along for the ride. But think about taking the left side of the rib cage over towards your right thigh. And you're opening up, open up, open up. And let it come down and just relax for a minute. Let's do that again. So you can take an inhale here And then exhale as you rotate, rotate. Remember, we're not rotating from the shoulder. We're moving the left rib cage to the right leg. Very good. And come on down. And let's do that one more time. Rotate, rotate, rotate. All right. Very nice. So guess what? We got to do that on the other side. But let's come up out of this. Come all the way up out of this. Shake out your wrist if you want to. Wiggle your fanny. And we'll get those knees back in place. So where does this right arm go? It goes right in front of your breastbone. So I want you to pay attention to these moves so you can do them yourself when you find one of these moves that works really well for you and you're like, that feels so good. I want you to be able to do it every day. So we're placing that hand under our breastbone. We're placing the left hand on the low back. We're going to drop the elbow to the floor, and we've got our elbow against our right leg. From here, we're taking our right rib cage over to our left leg and rotating, 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 and come back. So you can inhale here. And as you exhale, you can rotate. Take the rib cage to the left leg. Just let everything else go along for the ride. And come back. Let's do that one more time. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Very good. And come back. You guys are great. All right. Come back up. Let's go to a seated position and grab our yoga blocks. So we worked a bunch of the rib cage right there. That part of your back, the mid back, is the part of the back that rotates, okay? The low back bends and extends. So we've got to keep them, all these movements happy in our back and keep them coordinated. What I want you to do now, we're going to do a abdominal move that is key to getting your abdominals to know what to do. You're going to take your yoga block, put it in between your knees. As we roll down to the floor, use that opportunity to squeeze here, tighten here, and go down as slow as you can. Just roll down as slow as you can. Give a plop at the end, that's okay. Just take it one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow. Good job. Okay, so we're going to strengthen these abdominals down here. If you've had an abdominal surgery, this first move we're going to do is going to wake up these abdominals like they've never been waken up before. They're going to go right into action as we do our other moves. So listen carefully. What I want you to do is take your palms and put them on the floor where you're comfortable. So your elbows might be out to the side, your arms might be straight down here, however your body wants to get a comfortable palm on the floor. So lift your fingers off the floor and suction cup those palms to the floor. Now just relax your fingers back to the floor, okay? So this is where our neurological input comes in, right here in these hands. So I want you to pay attention to these hands. We're pressing them to the floor, but not through the floor. So you've got a nice grip on the floor with your palm. Now from here, I want you to drop your chin to your chest so your eyes are gazing towards the top of your knees. You've got this block in between your knees, and you're just gently holding it there to keep your knees in line with your hips. So now we're gazing at the top of our knees, so our neck is rounding into the floor. So if our neck is rounding into the floor, we want our low back to go the same direction, right? So pull your navel into your spine and let your low back round into the floor. Now you're going to feel a tiny tilt in your pubic bone coming up towards your nose. We're not lifting the hips, we're just tilting that pubic bone ever so slightly while we're in contact with our hands on the floor. And we're holding this. Keep holding it. Keep breathing. Hold it. And then just release. So we're going to hold it for a long 6 seconds. More importantly, we're going to release it for a long 6 seconds. So take your hands off the floor, let your legs relax, let your back relax. And then we're going to teach it one more time how to do this. So listen carefully. We're going to push our palms into the floor. You're going to lift your fingers up off the floor so that whole palm gets in contact with the floor. Then relax your fingers down to the floor. Bring your chin towards your chest so your neck is rounding towards the floor. You're gazing at the top of your knees. Your knees have a little grip on that yoga block. And then from here, you're going to round your navel, pressing your low back to the floor and getting a tiny tilt in these lower abdominals right here. So what's happening is these abdominal muscles way down here that attach to this pubic bone and run up the middle of your stomach are working. They're shortening. They're working. Hold it tight. Hold it tight. And this also brings your pelvis into perfect alignment. So when you're standing, it's not stressing your low back. Go ahead and release it. So now that you have all that information, let's just go through it one more time. So palms on the floor, fingers are up, then relax the fingers to the floor. Bring your chin to your chest so your neck is rounding into the floor. Pull your navel tight into your spine and get that nice tilt through the pubic bone. And you should feel it tilt a little more than you did the first time. There should be a little more movement there. Hold that tilt. Feel those lower abdominals tighten. Feel them tighten. Keep holding. It's a long 6. Keep holding. And release. So now that you know what it feels like to have that little tilt in your pubic bone, the next 2 abdominal exercises we're going to do, which brings in a few more of these frontal abdominals, we're going to keep that same position, all right? Now, you can keep your hands on the floor to do this. Well, you can't really, but put your arms down by your side. Go ahead. You know how to tilt that pubic bone. So go ahead and tilt it. Now from here, that mid back that we were working on, the neck, head, neck, and shoulders are going to lift up off the floor just a little bit. We're not going into a crunch. We're going to keep looking up to the ceiling for this one. And I want you to take your arms alongside your body and you're going to glide your rib cage toward your hip bone. So you're going to be reaching for your heels. So get a little reach for your heels. So once you're up, you don't lift any higher. We're just gliding this rib cage towards our hip bone. We're shortening this area right here. You're actually working a lot of your obliques and your rectus abdominis muscles. So it's a little glide, but we've got that tilt there. So we know we've got this lower abdominal turned on. And we're gliding. And if you need to, you can put your hand behind your head. I don't want your neck doing all this work, but I want you to feel that glide. Do as many as you can. Let's do a couple more. Nice job, nice job. Okay, let's change it up for a sec. Give the abdominals a break. What I want you to do is I want you to roll over on your left side. Or however you can see me. I'm going to my left side. And I'm going to take this arm I'm laying on and I'm going to bring it up and I'm going to grab my knees with it. So what I've got here is like a 90-degree bend right here. So I'm on my side. I'm grabbing my knees. I'm going to hold my knees in place because we're going to twist that mid back. And if our knees are bent here, we will not be twisting our low back. Our low back doesn't really like to twist. So we're going to accentuate the upper mid back by doing this. So what you're going to do, and you can watch me first, is you're going to take your right arm and you're going to sweep it around over to the other side. All the while you're taking your head with it. And then you sweep it back. So you're going to watch your arm. So get in position. You've got a 90-degree bend in the hips. You're grabbing your knees with the arm you're laying on. Your other arm sweeps up and around, and watch the arm, watch where it goes. Take your head with it and sweep it back. So if you can keep your arm on the floor, all the better. Sweep it around, try to keep the shoulders back towards the floor. That's the goal. Let's do that one more time. So keeping the arm on the floor, sweeping and reaching where you can go, rotating the torso, rotating the thoracic spine. All right, let's just switch that up to the other side. I'm just going to sit up and flop over to the other side. So now I am on my right side. I'm going to grab my legs with my right arm. I'm going to take my left arm in front of me, and I'll get in position. And from here, we're going to glide our arm or hand along the floor around behind us. We're following with our head. We're coming back around to the front. Let's glide around, follow the hand up and over and back. Try to get the shoulder blades towards the floor. Bring it around. Let's do that one more time. Glide it, glide it, glide it. And bring it around. Good job, good job. So let's go back to our back. We're going to work those abdominals a little bit more. Let's swing around. All right. We're going to do some dead bugs. Anybody got dead bugs in their house this time of year? Winter's coming. Critters are trying to get inside. So let's get our dead bug position. Anytime you're doing any abdominal work, your go-to in your head is that pelvic tilt, okay? So it's going to be automatic. Your brain is automatically going to go to that. But let's go ahead and position it like we did in the beginning. Place your hands on the floor. Fingertips are up. Let the fingertips drop. Pull the navel into the spine as you gaze at the top of your knees. So now you've got your pelvic tilt. We're going to hold this part. The rest of the body can go where it needs to. What I want you to do is bring your arms straight up from your shoulders. Then I want you to bring your knees up here. Now you know where to go with this pelvic tilt. Hold on to that. Now, I want you to take your right arm behind you and your left foot to the floor, keeping that knee bent, and bring it up. Now we're going to do the right arm behind us and the left knee one more time. And bring it up. So let's do the left arm and the right foot to the floor. You keep that knee at the same bend. I don't want to see you just bending the knee and bringing it to the floor. The knee's going to move, the hip's going to move. So left arm, right foot goes to the floor. Bring it back up. All the while we're holding this pelvic tilt. Now, if you have to relax for a minute, you can get into that pelvic tilt from right here. So just pull that navel into the floor. See how well that works? So let's go to right arm, left toe goes to the floor. Bring it up. Hold that pelvic tilt. Left arm, right foot goes to the floor. Hold that tilt. Go ahead and do this at your own pace. Keep it there. Alternate your hands and your legs, but make sure you keep that 90-degree bend in the knee. So your foot is reaching a little bit for that floor. Let's do one more each side. Hold that pelvic tilt. Good job, good job. All right, grab your yoga block again. And what we're going to do is we're going to get a little hip extension now. We just had everything in flexion. We'll stay on our back. If you don't have a yoga block, just grab a pillow, something to press between your knees. All righty. Now, go ahead and put your arms gently on the floor this time. We're going to let the low back release, okay? You're going to squeeze your glutes together. So right here, we're going to squeeze first. Now we've got these points right here, our hip bones. These are called your ASIS. We want to keep them nice and level, and we want to send them straight up to the ceiling. So I want your focus to be on squeezing your glutes and lifting these hip pointers evenly and straight up to the ceiling. So take your time while you do it. Squeeze the glutes, lift the hip bones, keep them nice and steady. This is mindful movement. We're controlling this movement. It's not controlling us. We've got this. Hold it up there. Now, the harder you squeeze your glutes, the higher your hips are going to go, and the looser the front is going to get. Now, keep squeezing. Don't let that squeeze go. Lower it down. Lower it down nice and steady. These are your levelers here, your ASIS, your hip pointers, and relax. So let's do that again. Squeeze at the bottom. So you want to squeeze before you even start. You want to keep these as your levelers. So you're really controlling your motion as you lift up. Control it, control it, control it. Get up high, get up high, get up high. Now from here, let's do a few pulses. So you can release while you're right here on the glutes, and then squeeze and release and squeeze and release and squeeze and release and squeeze. One more release and squeeze, and then lower it down. Hold on to it. Keep that squeeze. Keep it steady. Keep it level. And take it down. Good job. Now that we did those pulses, we've really trained it on what we're going to do. Let's do it a little quicker. So I want you to squeeze your glutes, lift your hips. Keep squeezing as you lower down. Release. Squeeze your glutes. Lift your hips. Keep squeezing as you lower down. And I don't know if you're getting the feeling I am, but now my hips can stay a little more level. They stay level easier. I'm not really working too hard to keep them level, but boy, at the beginning, I had to train them. Lower it down, release, squeeze, and lift. So if you're in a class and you're doing bridges, keep that squeeze and lower it down. I want you to be mindful to squeeze first, to keep the squeeze while you're lifting, keep the squeeze while you're lowering, and then release. So if you're doing it real quick, you just got to be a little quicker at all that. So you lift and you lower, but you keep the squeeze. The only time you release the squeeze is when you reach the bottom right here, but then you squeeze again, you lift, you keep the squeeze, and you lower. All right, let's release that for a second. We're going to go back to the front side here. We're going to engage this pubic bone one more time. The pubic bone actually has a little joint right in the middle called the pubic symphysis. So when we walk, your hips can rotate. And this is going to encourage strength in that rotation. So we're going to come here. I want you to take your left knee and bring it up towards your chest. So kind of monitor how close you're getting here, because this will loosen things up. You'll get a little farther by the time we're done. Once you're there, I want you to place your hand right at your knee. So your hand's going to be your wall. Your knee's going to push into the wall. But we're going to get that gentle pelvic tilt that we've been working on. So what I want you to do here is I want you just to push your knee into your hand and feel your navel going to the floor. It automatically goes to the floor. And that pubic bone tilts up and allows your knee to push into your hand. So you've got a little pressure going on in the foot on the right side, but I want you to hold this position. So as you're walking and one foot's in front of the other, this is what's going on in this pubic bone. And then release it. Let's do the other side. So, well, no, let's stick to this side. We'll do 3 on this side. Sorry. So bring that knee up towards your chest. Monitor where it is. You might already be a little closer. You're going to place that hand in front of your knee. Pull your navel into your spine and push your knee into your hand and hold. I encourage you to hold these positions for 6 seconds and then release for 6 seconds. And release. Now, if you get any kind of cramping or anything like that in this hip flexor, you just want to straighten your leg. Don't work through a cramp. But let's try that one more time. And I want to see if your knee's getting any closer. monitor. Is your knee getting any closer? Mine is. Okay, so place your hand right here. Push your knee into your hand into your knee. Let that pubic bone tilt. Let the navel go into the floor. And you're encouraging this left side, or the side that you're bending your knee on, to move a little, independent of the right. Okay, nice job. Go ahead and extend that leg out long for a second. We're going to do the other side, and then we will be done. All right. Let's see. The other side could be totally different. Bring that right knee off the floor. Try to bring it towards your chest. Go ahead and block your knee with your hand. And I want you to push your knee into your hand. Feel this pubic bone tilting a little. Feel your low back going into the floor. You can even look towards your knee. So you got that roundedness in your neck. And drop it down. Let's do it again. Bring the knee towards the chest. See if it's getting a little looser. Push, push, push. You're getting a tilt right here on the right side of that pubic bone, right at this pubic symphysis joint. Give it a push, give it a push. And release. So one side might be harder to do. I encourage you to do a couple more on that side. Don't go into it full force. If one side's harder to do and you're like pressing, back off on the pressing and just let the body know what you want it to do. And then you can ramp up the amount of pressure you put right here. So go ahead and pull your navel into your spine, push your knee into your hand, push your hand into your knee, and take it down. All righty, you all did a great job. Let's roll over on our side, push ourselves up to a seated position. We'll get one last stretch. I want you to take your left knee in front of you along your mat. Your right knee is bent behind you on your mat. And we're going to take our left hand, put it behind us. We're going to keep a lot of space between our ear and our shoulder as we rise up on our knees and reach for the ceiling. Reach over with the arm, just like we did when we were on the floor. One more sweep with the arm. And if you're squeezing your glute on the back side of that right leg, you're going to open up this even more. So let's switch sides so we're even. And go ahead and rise up like the sun. It's coming up. Go ahead and rotate that arm back and forth like a rainbow. This is where we paint our rainbows across the sky. Squeeze that glute on the backside. Open up that hip flexor. Have a seat. Give yourself a pat on the back because you just learned several moves that are going to keep you from being injured while you're doing all your other moves. And it's going to make that body feel good. Thanks for joining us. Come back every Wednesday at 7 a.m. And Aisha, it's so great to see you. Hey, girl. I can hear you.
I couldn't
now.
find the link at first. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. It's so great to have you back on our time or whatever time that is. But great to have
Yes.
you in class. You feel good?
I was so ready. I have my candle lit. I'm ready to go. Thank you so much, Chris.
Have a great
On
day.
Wednesdays, as long as you're here. Okay.
I'll be here for you. Bye.